What started as an ordinary session in Parliament quickly turned into one of the most dramatic moments South African politics has seen in years. The mood inside the chamber changed instantly when Freedom Front Plus MP Peter Greenwald stood up to speak. From his first words, it was clear this would not be a calm or routine address. His tone was firm, deliberate, and openly confrontational. Greenwald accused President Cyril Ramaphosa of being linked to secret and questionable dealings within South Africa's prison system. These were not vague hints or political insults. He made direct claims, saying that hidden agreements and backroom arrangements had taken place, betraying the trust of the public and damaging the foundations of justice. For a few seconds after the accusation, the chamber fell into an uncomfortable silence. Even experienced ANC MPs appeared shocked by how boldly the claims were delivered. That silence, however, did not last. Almost immediately, Parliament descended into chaos. MPs shouted over one another. Some jumped to their feet, pointing and gesturing as tempers flared. Opposition benches applauded and rallied behind Greenwald, while senior ANC members rushed to defend the president. Order collapsed, and the chamber turned into a battleground of voices and emotions. But one thing was already clear: the impact of the allegations could not be undone. At the center of Greenwald's claims were what he called dirty prison deals. He argued these were not isolated incidents, but part of a wider pattern involving powerful ANC figures. According to him, these deals focused on personal gain and political survival rather than the public good. He claimed they involved lucrative contracts, financial rewards, and special treatment for those with the right political connections. However, Greenwald stressed that the issue was not just about money. The real danger, he said, was the control and manipulation of the prison system itself. If even part of his claims were true, it would mean that institutions meant to uphold justice had been turned into tools for political power. Prisons, he suggested, were no longer neutral spaces focused on rehabilitation and fairness, but bargaining chips used behind closed doors. This was more than an accusation of corruption. It was a challenge to the very idea of good governance. It raised serious questions about whether the state was still acting in the interests of its citizens. The ANC's response was swift and aggressive. Senior party leaders rejected the allegations as false and reckless. They accused Greenwald of spreading lies and trying to destabilize the ruling party. His motives were questioned, and he was portrayed as someone seeking attention rather than accountability. Yet many observers noticed something beneath the anger. The strong and emotional reaction felt, to some, like more than simple outrage. It carried a sense of urgency, perhaps even fear. Because if any part of the allegations led to formal investigations, the consequences could be devastating for the ANC, potentially reaching the highest levels of leadership, including the president himself. As tensions rose, Parliament became increasingly disordered. Some MPs walked out in protest. Others huddled together, speaking urgently on their phones as crisis management replaced normal debate. The day's official business was effectively abandoned. For South Africans watching live at home, the scene was shocking. What was expected to be another routine political session became a raw and revealing moment, exposing deep cracks within the ruling party and the state. The fallout spread quickly beyond Parliament. Social media exploded with hashtags linked to Ramaphosa and the alleged prison deals. Within minutes, the topic was trending nationwide. Many citizens expressed anger and disappointment, asking how much more corruption and broken promises they were expected to accept. In a country already struggling with crime, unemployment, and failing institutions, the idea that the justice system itself might be compromised was deeply unsettling. The prison system represents the state's power to enforce the law fairly. If that system is manipulated for political gain, many asked, what hope remains for accountability or the rule of law? Adding to public concern was the president's response, or lack of one. Instead of addressing the allegations directly, President Ramaphosa remained silent. As days passed, that silence became louder. Some analysts saw it as a calculated move, hoping the controversy would fade. In politics, silence can sometimes be a strategy, but for many South Africans, it felt more like avoidance. Opposition parties seized the moment, calling for parliamentary inquiries, investigations, and even judicial action. Meanwhile, statements from the president's office were vague and unconvincing, offering little clarity and no firm denial. As time went on, uncertainty grew. Each unanswered question increased public suspicion. If new evidence were to emerge, the consequences could reshape the balance of power within the ANC and weaken Ramaphosa's leadership. Even if the crisis were contained, the damage to public trust was already done. What became clear was that South Africa is experiencing a growing political awakening. Each scandal pushes citizens closer to demanding real accountability. The explosive scenes in Parliament were not just drama, they were a warning. Unchecked power, history shows, always carries a price. As this political story continues to unfold, one thing is certain. The demand for truth and accountability is growing louder, and ignoring it may come with consequences far greater than anyone expects. As public debate intensified, legal experts and political analysts began weighing in on the possible consequences of the allegations. Many stressed that accusations made inside Parliament, while protected by privilege, do not automatically amount to proof. However, they noted that such claims often act as triggers for further scrutiny, especially when public trust is already fragile. Several analysts pointed out that South Africa's history of state capture has made citizens far more sensitive to allegations involving secret contracts and hidden power networks. Even improving claims can weaken confidence in leadership if they are not addressed clearly and transparently. In this climate, credibility matters as much as legality. Attention also turned to oversight institutions, including Parliament's ethics committees and independent watchdog bodies. Calls grew for these institutions to demonstrate their independence by reviewing the matter objectively, free from political pressure. For many observers, how these bodies respond will be a key test of the country's democratic strength. International investors and diplomatic partners were also watching closely. Political instability and uncertainty around governance can affect economic confidence, particularly in a country already facing fiscal pressure and slow growth. Whether the allegations lead to formal investigations or fade over time, the episode has highlighted a deeper issue: the urgent need for clear accountability, open communication, and strong institutions. For many South Africans, the real question is no longer who made the accusation, but whether the truth will be fully examined and publicly answered.